Welcome everybody. I am so glad that you're all here today, and I just wanted to say really quickly thanks so much to everybody who has subscribed so far. It's been a bit of a rough few weeks for me as well. Long story short, I have been through a breakup and this has been quite a long time coming, and I just want to clear the air because, to be fair, this is my channel and therefore I can talk about it if I want to. Right, I think it's probably best to start at the top because the top is always best. I would just like to say that although the relationship that I'm about to discuss has now ended, there is no bad blood, and I just kind of want to start there. What happened really was essentially I left an ex a few years ago, and it was a bit of a tough breakup for me. There was a specific reason why I left the relationship, but since then, you know, when you just kind of have a feeling that you should be with the ex, well, that's kind of what has happened. And I have been in my new relationship for a number of years and it's been great, you know? I can't say that I am not happy with the relationship. I'm just gonna say that I've not really been satisfied by it. So yeah, I mean, I've just always been missing something, but something just kept gravitating me back to my ex, and so I've just bitten the bullet in that respect. I have therefore had a quite major breakup. I have left Nikon and gone back to Sony. If you fell for that, then I'm so sorry, but you know, a full system switch is very rare, so when you've got the opportunity to do it, you're gonna take it. That's just kind of the truth. And yes, I am still happily engaged to Dan. That's not changed. Thank you so much for sticking with us thus far. I'm sorry for playing a prank on you all, and I hope you enjoy the B-roll, but this video is about the first impressions of this little beauty that's sat in front of me right now. I have not even turned it on yet. I haven't done anything since I recorded the B-roll yesterday, so this literally is the first impressions, and I'm actually terrified. I hope it turns on, because if it doesn't, this video is going to be pretty shit. Have taken the liberty to put the battery on charge last night, so I do have a fully charged battery, and we're gonna just work through this. So yeah, this is the Sony A7R III. I was going to get the Sony A7R IV, but the extra £1,000 could not be justified, and therefore I went with this one. I have also purchased the lens. The 24-70 2.8 zoom lens is what I use most of the time because I usually shoot in studio or I shoot video, and so for those two things this lens does all of the jobs. The next lens on my hit list, if you did ask, I don't know if you've asked, but we're going to go there anyway. The next lens on the hit list is the 70-200 2.8 Sony, and I will never buy third-party glass again. I'm very lucky because I have a job which pays great because I run my own business and it's great fun, so I'm able to buy stuff like this and justify the purchase. If you cannot buy something like this or justify the purchase, don't do it, okay? Don't do it. I'm gonna put this to a side for now. Okay, so the first things first, we're gonna turn it on. I mean, there is the on button there, but other than that, I don't know what we're doing. Like I said, I used to have a Sony, so I'm hoping some things are in the same place. The reason why I did switch from Sony to Nikon in the first place was because of the poor ISO performance. I have been having regular communication with somebody who has this camera who has been insanely helpful, and they've also shared different clips and pictures with me so that I can make a fully judgmental, because I am judgmental, decision. I'm so excited. I'm just going to pause this video just for a sec to point out that I have got the pineapple back and I just don't care. So if I do look ridiculous, which I probably will today, sorry, not sorry. Let's put the battery in this. Right, so the little battery compartment thingy does have a lock on it, which is cool. I don't know which way. I'm going to go that way. Oh, you have to lock it again. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, I'm just on. Oh my god. Okay, right, so we've turned it on. It is on. Setup. I'm just going to run through the setup and we'll be right back. I don't know what the date is. What is the date? Hallelujah. Okay. We're on. I'm going to move this. Of course it's going to be in manual. Oh, you have to press the button to do the spinny thing. We're in manual. Obviously there is no memory card because I haven't put a memory card in. Do you think I should put a memory card in? Okay, so the memory cards go in kind of like back to front. It's just the wrong way. If you've got one, you'll know what I mean. They go the wrong way in here. What we're going to do is we're going to have a play of all the things that are fun. Right, so this is the screen. This is the screen on the back, and it does an pulley outy thing. Okay, here we go. Right, so it's got pulley out screen, which is exactly the same as the Nikon D500. Apart from this is just kind of feels nicer and sexy, you know? We're going to press some stuff. We're going to try this out. We're going to try continuous shooting because why not? I mean, I don't know how. Oh, there we go. Right, okay, so we're at 2,000th of a second. Comparison for a second with the D800. That's as fast as that goes. That was fun. I do kind of know my way around the settings because as a good person, when they buy a new camera, what I've done is I've watched YouTube tutorials and therefore kind of know what we're doing here. Remember when you change your lenses to always point the lens down. Make sure the camera is turned off and that reduces the charge on the sensor. Point the camera down, unscrew the cap, hold the camera securely, hold the lens with the point to the top, and then marry the two together. And just like that, you've correctly mounted your lens. Okay, so this is, as I have mentioned before, this is the 24 to 70 2.8 zoom lens. Oh my god, it's just so beautiful. Gonna see, do you know what I missed about Sony that I'm so glad to have back? EVF, electronic viewfinder. Holy hell. If you have not tried an electronic viewfinder before, you are missing out on serious stuff here, guys, serious stuff. Let's see what this, oh, the electronic viewfinder. It's so good. Oh, my back button focus is enabled as standard. That's interesting, because I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to change my focus settings. I mean, to be honest, it's hard to even tell if this is working because it's silent. Literally, let me try and put it close to the microphone. Let's focus right now. Can you hear that? I'm just going to turn off my shutter button as a trigger because nobody needs that in their life. So I'm going to go into the menu and work it out because this is how I've basically done my whole career. Hey Siri.
Okay, I found this on the web.
Oh, do you know what? Let's use our brains and grab the manual. You know, we're just going to have to muddle through this, guys. I found it. It took us a while. My back button is now my focus device. And the front is purely for other things. Next thing that I always change, I like to have a image review as soon as I've taken the picture, because if you can't chimp, what's the point in having a digital camera? That is so not a good thing to say. I might cut that out, but I also might not because it's the truth. Auto review, 2 seconds, that'll do. Thank you very much. Let's go again. Oh. Focus is good. The bed. This is pretty cool. I mean, like, is there an ISO button? I feel like there isn't. Your ISO. Hello. Okay. I'm gonna stop playing with this now because you guys don't really want to see me play with this for about like a year. The first thing that is super important to note about this particular camera is that it is a full frame camera, just like the D800. It shoots up to 10 frames a second, and it has probably one of the most incredible autofocus systems I have ever seen. The Sony cameras have always been a bit ahead of their game in terms of autofocus, and this is absolutely nothing different. This particular camera can shoot at an incredibly high speed with actual eye tracking for autofocus. I'm not making this up here. You've obviously heard me mention it in my previous video on, which I will link above, action photography for dog photography, which is up there. I did mention the Sony camera as a brand, so retrospectively, they did put the IAF into this particular camera. Don't get confused if you've seen elsewhere that it is not in there. It is. They brought it over from the A7R IV into the A7R III in a firmware update. So that means this particular camera does also have IAF. The reason why I bought this camera was because it's also an incredible video camera. So instead of having two bodies to shoot and video like I currently do have, this particular body can do both extremely well. So it shoots in 4K video full frame instead of cropped like the D500 does. The autofocus system in this body is also absolutely brilliant. It uses phase detection primarily and also has contrast detection in as a backup. If you're not sure what those two things are, contrast detection is what hunts usually, and it gets a little bit annoying, and phase detection hunts a lot less. It tends to speed up the autofocus capability, and in terms of video it's incredible, and that's why I got this particular camera, because it had phase detection when shooting video. I'm not going to bore you with the stats of this particular camera because, I mean, who the hell cares, you know? If you want a video with loads of stats on, just Google or just look on YouTube because there's about 24,000 of them. I am not going to be doing that today. I just want to run through super quickly what I would look for in a new camera because I think people get very confused. The most important thing about a new camera for me personally is that it has a very good autofocus system. Once we've moved past the autofocus system in terms of its speed and reliability, I then look at how well does that camera and its sensor and its processor handle noise at different ISOs. And they don't necessarily have to be super high. I tend to not shoot over 2000 ISO, but sometimes, you know, even at that, some of the cameras are really shocking. So I tend to also look at how well that camera handles the noise so that I don't have to rip apart pictures afterwards in post-production. And finally, the last thing I look at realistically is how many frames per second the camera has. My D500 does shoot a very good frames per second. It's got a good frames per second rate. I'm not sure what it is. I'll put it on the screen now. The D800, as we have heard already today, has a really bad frames per second rate, and it's very, very slow and sluggish. It does teach you to be more accurate though, which is a good thing. This particular camera is brilliant. I don't know, does it match the D500? I know that it's fast enough, which is good enough for me. But yes, this does shoot at 10 frames per second, as I have mentioned. I thought this was going to be a lot lighter than it was. I'm not saying it's heavy if you're used to having a 1DX. I mean, we can all dream. Guys, if you've got a 1DX, you are the envy of the world. Yes, this is a lot lighter than a camera body like that, but it's not the lightest thing I've ever held, and I was just expecting it to be more feather-like in its lightness, but it's not. Let's just put the stats up on the screen now. So the weight of the D800 is, okay, the weight of the D500 is, and the weight of this is. So, I mean, I don't think it's like massively lighter, but I'm absolutely ready to be proved wrong by myself. The camera itself does feel like it's a very good build quality. I don't think it's particularly plasticky. As my partner Daniel, which as I mentioned before, our relationship is absolutely fine, mentioned, the grip is very small. And so for a man with enormous hands, he finds it very difficult to hold on to. I don't care because I don't have big hands, so it doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. So it's worth to mention. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of all there is to it. I'm very excited. I like it. I love it. I want to try it out. That's kind of all I wanted to go through today. So please do subscribe. Click the bell icon. The bell icon helps you out because it gives you a notification every single time I upload a video. I upload every week, and sometimes more than that if I feel like it. That was a lot of words to get out there. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me again. Hope you enjoyed it.